Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Sack of Durbin is up for re-election on November 3rd in Illinois. He is facing two challengers in the general election. One is businessman Willie Wilson, who we spoke with the other week. Willie Wilson has run for mayor the last couple times. I've always enjoyed our conversations with Willie.
And he's new in the race, isn't he? He's a newbie.
Independent candidate for U.S. Senate. And I suppose Dick Durbin would call Willie Wilson a token candidate. Like he called Tim Scott's proposal on police reform a token proposal because Dick Durbin is human detritus, slime, terrible, terrible U.S. Senator, even a worse person by all indication. The poster boy for swamp creatures. He preens at room temperature for the last 20 years plus, 24, I guess now. He's elected in 96 to the U.S. Senate. He was a member of Congress before then. Oh, yeah, back in the day when he was a Central Illinoisan, pro-life Dick Durbin, member of Congress. Pro-life? Oh, sure. But chameleon, that's what swamp creatures are. They at least have to have that feature. You know, he does that routine while wife Loretta makes a killing as a lobbyist. And I'm sure there's walls of separation between the two.
Of course they are. They never discuss it at home.
Of course not. One does not influence the other.
No.
There's no influence peddling going either direction. But the question is, despite this, vanilla socialist that we have as the senior senator from Illinois, is there, that with no opposition party in terms of any organizational functionality, can Republicans compete better in 2020 with Trump on the ballot than they have in the previous 4 efforts against Dick Durbin? Well, maybe Willie Wilson can draw erstwhile default Dem voters away from Durbin to himself and tighten up the race and make this a potential surprise, potential November surprise, maybe. Let's hear the argument. For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by the Republican nominee for U.S. Senate running against Durbin and now Willie Wilson, former sheriff of Lake County, Illinois, Mark Curran. Mark, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan and Amy. Thank you for having me. So the last time I was on with y'all, you were in my jail.
Yes.
That's right.
You should have locked him up for longer. You should not have let Dan Proft out on probation.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
So tell us how, Willie Wilson shakes up the race and whether or not you see that as the benefit to you that it appears to be.
So Willie Wilson, he's if he's not a billionaire, he's pretty close to it. And he's indicated he's going to spend a lot of his own money in the race, drawing attention of the media into the race. So ultimately, what's happening, Chicago media, to some extent, they've been decimated. So there's not that many reporters left, but they don't have any interest in covering. It seems like any races right now. So. We're totally under the radar as far as coverage. Willie Wilson helps bring attention to the race. That's one thing. Willie Wilson, he's empathized with the plight of the blacks and is running on that black reparation concept. And, maybe that plays and helps draw blacks from Dick Durbin. He's done well. I mean, he's running all these, not in all, but he's running for mayor, and he's gotten double-digit numbers. He's run for president. I mean, he has a following. He has a base. So we'll see what happens.
Do you think he's going to take votes away from you?
Probably take some from me, but I think he'll take more from Durbin.
Yeah.
And
he's going after Durbin. That's what both of us are doing.
And so frame the race, Mark Curran versus Dick Durbin. Then what's your pitch?
So, my pitch, 38 years he's been there, Dan. It's, he's the poster child for term limits. He talked about his wife being a millionaire from lobbying alone. I mean, he's just a corrupt guy, as you said, believes in essentially nothing. And, he moves in the direction of the party. So anything that's out there as far as lawlessness, I can't believe that if you're a police officer, you're going to vote for Dick Durbin. There's no way. I'm seeing huge support from the men in blue. Same with fire. Even you go across. I'm a middle-class guy. I've made a pitch to teachers. We recognize the fact that some of the things the teachers' unions are doing are not right. And Secondly, there's a lot of tax dollars that are siphoned off at the top of those school hierarchies, but that's not that. We're still there for the teachers. We're there for the fighting for the working people. Bringing jobs back, middle class, and people know that. And the other thing is, Dan, I've been in Chicago my whole life, so I have a base that people don't realize. We lived on the south side, we lived on the north side. I have brothers that live in the city. We're not as unknown as people think, so we're going to surprise people.
And what have you been doing? We were sorry to hear that you lost your election for Lake County Sheriff. What have you been doing after you lost that election?
So I practiced law. I've done some lecturing, but and some consulting, but I'm practicing law primarily. But this Senate race has been all-consuming, so that's what I'm doing, Amy. I mean, it's I'm
so
going
losing that
places,
election made you realize you want to run for Senate.
So I lost by 137 votes.
Oof.
out of a quarter million votes because I complimented Amy. So
no, you really think that's the reason why?
No.
Yeah. Okay. Thank God. Because I didn't have that Me Too moment. The women in the Democratic Party decided to have a Me Too moment on behalf of me, which I completely was disgusted by. So just so you know, I defended you.
No, absolutely. Thank you. I'm always not going to be fearful to compliment women. So
that makes one of us.
Ultimately, I lost by. I beat every other Republican on the ballot by 30,000 votes. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And I was still the number one target. I've been the number one target up in Lake County, the Democrats forever. Ask Terry Link. All the resources go after me because I switched parties on them, and that's the worst of all sins. So they've been coming after me forever, and I've always way outdistanced all the other Republicans. Trump, lost Lake County by 21 points, so people know what Lake County is all about. Mm-hmm. I lost by 100 votes. Every other Republican got clobbered in Lake County. So that's a big county, and I play well up here in northern Illinois, and that's where the election's going to be won or lost.
Speaking of Trump, you've had some criticisms of him in the past that haven't set well with Trump supporters. How do you approach, running an election with him on the ballot in November? Are you going to endorse Kanye West in the birthday party?
No, Jen, you've known me for a long time. I'm staunchly pro-life, and that drives my worldview. And there's no way I want anybody other than President Trump picking our Supreme Court justices. So I've been with him. To criticize him does not mean you're an anti-Trumper. That's the lie that has been pitched. But now we're in election mode, so I'm not going to help the media by throwing any criticism of President Trump out there because as people that believe, as your last guest said, in liberty, we want Trump to win.
Okay. And your positions, the position you took some heat for, and you know this, but it'll come back around. I've already had emails from people when Curran comes on, ask him about this. Does he still support sanctuary policies? Is he still weak on immigration, so on and so forth? So as a Senate candidate, I got to get your position on that issue, which will be an important issue in this election. Where do you stand on immigration and as a federal official, as a United States Senator, where would you be on funding cities and states that have sanctuary policies? Where would you be on DACA and associated issues?
So, President Trump's in favor of, doing something with DACA and dreamers, as am I, but it should be part of a larger bill. So just so they know who Mark Curran is, he spent, a lot of years, 13 years as a prosecutor. He had a caddy on the weekends to be able to hold that job. That's how strongly he believes in law enforcement. And so to say that I'm some open borders guy is a total lie. The reality is that legislation is a compromise. And for me, what's most important is border security, no sanctuary cities. We play hardball with them. I'm totally in favor of that. And at the end of the day, we've got to slow down the immigration process because we need people to assimilate. If they want to be Americans, this is not, the United Nations. At some point, we need to get back to the concept of a melting pot where, we all have a unified value system that draws us together. So I'm not in favor of any of that. And I'm not Tom Dart. I cooperated with ICE 100%. So my primary opponents pitch some lies, and then there's other people that are out there pitching lies. So I was in favor of immigration reform. I'd love to see, the immigration system fixed. That's about it.
Where'd you caddy?
So mostly at Briarwood in Deerfield.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, it's not
Dan caddied. Tell him. Just let him know where you caddied.
It's not the oldest 18-hole golf course in America like Chicago Golf Club, where I was a 3-time caddy of the year. I mean, I'm just saying. But
and he has the trophies in the studio.
But yeah, exactly. To remember the good old days. To remember when I reached my potential, and it's been downhill since then. But no, that's caddying's an honorable job. I think actually it's the best job I've ever had. Still.
I know.
I used to caddy. I know you're a big White Sox fan. The Shirley Bakery was across the street, and I used to caddy for Charlie Lubin a lot. He was awesome.
Really?
Wow. Was he a good tipper?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, and Shelby Astro, who was helped draw the paperwork and became general counsel for McDonald's. I worked for McDonald's for him. So you made great connections. Charlie Lubin was a great tipper, Amy, and he'd give you ball tickets. Ted Fox, who screwed up Dick Butkus' knee, he was there. He'd give me bear tickets. I mean, it was fun.
I caddied for Paul Harvey, and he would give me his orange polyester double knits.
Oh, yeah,
as well.
right.
So I did caddy for Paul Harvey.
I remember.
Golf.
Yeah. No, and Michael Jordan, you caddied for
and
him
I got
once.
my fashion sense from Paul Harvey.
I see how he
a lot of
rubbed off on
pastels
you.
and a straw hat. So, Mark, let's talk about the Republican Party, because you're the Republican nominee for U.S. Senate, so you're top of the ballot at the state level here. And since there isn't a Republican Party, that presents a particular challenge. But it also, I guess, is an opportunity to say, there's a direction the Republican Party could take. We need to start winning elections, of course, from federal offices on down. But then we need leadership in those federal offices on down to redefine and reintroduce the Republican Party. What would you like to see from an Illinois Republican Party, a reconstituted one in this state?
I guess, so what I would say is if you look anywhere in the country right now, there's been a shift. You cannot get elected anywhere, essentially, as a pro-life Democrat. And whether people in Illinois like to hear it or not, the same is true with the Republican. You cannot get elected unless you're a pro-life Republican. The evidence is that is our party throughout the country. There's no pro-choice, absent Collins and Murkowski in the Senate. There's like one in the House. So we're a pro-life party, and that's what the base is, and that's what the energy is. So the Mark Kirks and the Bruce Rowners, they got to be done. They got to realize that, this is the party. These are the people that win. So we've only won one presidential popular vote since 1992. And I think we're losing the middle class, and that's what we have to ask is how do we get teachers and firefighters and cops and all of them back in the tent. What are the issues and the people that are struggling, that lost their jobs as they went overseas and what have you. And we need to talk to these issues. What can we be doing for the middle class? And that should be the focus. We should recognize that basically President Trump laid out the template that this is a socially conservative party that wants to get the middle class back in its tent.
Now, as a former law enforcement officer, what do you make of all the civil unrest that's going on in Chicago?
So, Amy, if people want to go to electcurran.com or on Facebook, Twitter, I was down there last night, and I talked to these cops, and they are just awesome. I love what they're doing, and they're still holding their chins high. So there's a bunch of punks laying out in front of the Columbus statue. They want Christopher Columbus statue ripped down. And I'm going to say like 85% of them were white. And they're just laying out there, and they're all flipping me the bird and everything else. And it's just, we're just directionless right now. It's just pathetic. But what I would say is, why are they allowed to block traffic in both directions so that businesses can't, entertain? They can't really.
People can't go home from work. They always do it right, during 5 o'clock hour.
Right. So I'd be arresting people left and right. That would be my order. You break the law. And I'm a broken window guy. I don't know if you know that concept back when Giuliani and Carrick was the chief out in New York. That there's got to be a low threshold for which you arrest people when times are unsettled, because people are at war with our society, and we have to recognize that. Okay, you want to go to war? We're all about it, because we're going to protect businesses. We're going to protect individuals that want to live safe. We're going to save our city economically by letting people know that is a place you can live and do business in safety.
And I mean, the broken windows theory. Let's just James Q. Wilson and George Kelling wrote the article about this in 1982, and then it was implemented in New York under Giuliani and various police commissioners. That's right, and then it spread around the country as well. It should have. It just skipped over Chicago for some reason.
Right. I mean, we've had some great leadership. I think we haven't had any really good superintendents in a long time. So that's, you're right.
We haven't had any really good mayors in even longer.
Yeah.
Mark Curran, Republican candidate for U.S. Senate, former sheriff of Lake County. Mark, again, the website, people want more information on your campaign.
So it's electcurran.com. There's a lot of things happening. 105 days left. We're going to finish strong. We're going to hit hard. So we're having fun. So follow us, and you'll enjoy what you see. And, if you can support us in any way, we really appreciate it.
Right. Mark Curran, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dan and Amy. Bye.
Thanks. And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM560. The Answer.
Presenting a good appearance is everything, a direct reflection of your business. But now you also need to ensure your employees and customers that you're providing a safe environment in which to work and do business. To keep and stay clean, team up with High PSI, Chicago's leading source on industrial cleaning equipment, accessories, and service. High PSI sells clean with the biggest selection and highest quality of industrial cleaning and pressure washing equipment in the Midwest. And now selling Vital Oxide, a hospital-grade, safe EPA-registered disinfectant cleaner. This product can be applied with a spray, wipe, mister, or electrostatic foggers that actually wrap surfaces with disinfectants or sanitizers. Vital Oxide kills MERS, SARS, flu, and COVID. High PSI for industrial cleaning solutions. Keep your business clean with accessories and supplies, repair service, and rentals. Call now, 630-893-0777 or highpsi.com. High PSI, they sell clean.
We live in a world driven by information where we hear about data privacy concerns